Well, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome along to Fujairah in the United Arab Emirates. It is the World Games qualifier here in this beautiful part of the world. We're delighted to be in the UAE again here for the MotoSurf event, and this, of course, the all-important event to qualify for the World Games taking place later this year. We've got the men's qualification just getting underway, of course, and you haven't missed much, folks. And we've got the first two riders have completed a couple of laps. Zhang Maozhou from China was the first man out onto the circuit today, and he had a 56.522. And Zhu Linjing also out on course at the moment. So each rider, of course, getting 2 laps, 48 men in this qualification session. And we're going to talk you through it. Going to bring you as many of the times as we can, as we get them coming through. Of course, this setting us up for the weekend ahead and the World Games qualifier. I'll talk you through a little bit about the World Games as we go through the weekend, but basically we've got 24 participants that will take part in Chengdu 2025 in the men's, same for the women's, also the Nations Cup as well. Over in China and Chengdu, taking place later in the year, of course. That's taking place between the 7th to the 17th of August. Murat Yongalkar is next one we will see out on course. As you can see, the riders that have completed the 2 laps so far. This course, conditions right now out on the water are pretty good. There's a long harbour wall, sea wall that is sheltering us from the Gulf of Oman, and what that'll do, it just keeps the conditions relatively still. The wind does tend to pick up a little bit in the afternoons here. I should know, I've been on the beach all week, just up the road, and it does get a little bit windier in the afternoon. In the first thing in the morning, it's usually pretty calm, but just gone at 10 past 2 local time here in Fujairah. Of course, we were here last year on the MotoSurf World Championship, and great to be back again, and our thanks to Fujairah and the Fujairah International Marine Club for hosting us here. 1:07.045, the first lap for Yonganchilar from Turkey. So we are seeing right now Yan Zhitao from China will be the next man to complete a lap. Get a chance just to have a look at the course out there. It's pretty full throttle, but you do have to be careful. We can't see at the moment, but certainly once we get into tomorrow's competition and the racing over the weekend, you'll see the long lap as well. But at the moment, close-up pictures with the man from Turkey looking to complete his second lap. And we'll talk a little bit more about the splits over the weekend as well. That won't be a feature of qualifying too much today. Should be 2 laps completed now for Yonganchilar from Turkey. Going quicker in his second lap, 1:04.884. Quickest so far. Zhu Linjing from China, 55.334. So 2 riders out on the course for qualifying, and they're separated so they try and get some clear water, 2 laps each, and we take the best time to count for qualifying into tomorrow's race. Got to apologise, folks. I've not got much of a voice today. I'm hoping it's back for the weekend, so it's a little bit of just getting through today and protect my voice. We'll try and find some riders to come and have a chat as well to take you inside the action and get a little bit more detail out on the course and how things are running out there. But you can see water conditions pretty good at the moment. It's not too choppy out there, but there's a little bit of activity with the jet skis and things out there that are there for the riders' safety, of course. 1:07.045 the first lap for Yonganchilar from Turkey. Going quicker in his second lap, 1:04.884. Quickest so far. Zhu Linjing from China, 55.334. So 2 riders out on the course for qualifying, and this course, Well, the time, I'm just going off the times that we have here. 1:52.379 for the man from China. Apologies for that, folks. Voice just about holding up. Okay, we'll try again. Apologies if you hear me coughing a little bit today, but we'll get through it. Lots of medication to get through today's broadcast, but I'm sure all will be fine in due course. 55.334, the quickest time we've had so far. Still with Zhu Linxin from China. Would you Yongkan out there from Korea with a 59.829. He's now onto his second lap. Well, that's my name. That's not me riding, of course. That would be very, very dangerous if I was to be out there. But I am your commentator, hopefully with a voice that works tomorrow. Two men out on course at the same time, just as we were saying, separated enough, usually by about half a lap, to provide the clear water. Little stumble there, that could be a little costly, but it's all about keeping the momentum up here. Do you get those 2 bites of the cherry when you're out there? 55.334, the quickest time so far. We've got Jano Vankersblik from Belgium, is who we are watching right now. He had a 101.204, good enough for 5th place at the moment. See if he can improve on the second lap, which he's on here. That little stumble before the line, you see riders trying to stop the clock, break the timing beam. And the Belgian going slightly quicker on the second lap, 1:2:49. 4.915 off of the quickest that we've seen so far. Paul Torrey will be out on course for Japan next to go. So just getting set up and then get on that throttle, get up to speed, and then start the 2 laps of qualifying, get strapped in. Of course, interesting here, all the boards in the men's, it's all stock boards for everybody. That is the class that will be competing at the World Games later in the year. I've seen a few riders coming from other classes, the Stock R from last season, a few of the juniors and masters, a few elites as well, but all riding on the stock boards. So no World Championship points or anything like that this weekend. It is all about the qualifying for the World Games. At those World Games, as I was saying, 24 participants in the men's and in the women's, and then there's the Nations Cup as well. There'll be 12 teams in the Nations Cup, with one male and one female rider per team. It's the Chinese riders that have got the advantage so far at the moment. Paul Torre out on course, waiting on his first time. Now for some nations, selection perhaps a little bit easier. Oh, he's just stuffed that one down in the water, cut it really tight. You can see that left hand dragging, and that is a big issue for the man from Japan there, but he will have to come back and see if he can get a better time on the second lap. We do have two riders out on the course as well. And Jan Ganchelar should be out there as well. See, just having a minor issue, but keeping it upright, keeping it smooth, focusing on the task at hand, putting down a clear, clean run. Let's see what the time says. Nearly at the start-finish line, or the finish line, we should call it. The man from Turkey. So that's his first lap completed. I haven't got a time for you yet. I do now, 1:12.099. Still no time for Paul Torre, and there he is after that fall, but the board seems to be working okay. Is he just trying to find a spot to get back in? He is getting back on the throttle and stepping it up, and well, hoping to improve after those problems in the first lap. Has he got a problem? Not entirely sure. It looks like he's just trying to blast that throttle. Maybe waiting for a spot to get back in, because he hasn't completed a full lap. And Jan Ganchelar from Turkey, with the slowest time so far are the 7 riders that have got at least one time on the board. Well, we're out here in Fujairah, the 7th largest city in the United Arab Emirates, on the Gulf of Oman, the only Emirati capital city on the UAE's east coast. Population of this city around about 118,900. Second time there for Ender Jan Ganchelar, 1:09.777. That is slightly quicker than he managed in his first lap. Abraham Tibor will be one of the next men out on course, along with Alexander Ström from Sweden. Well, there appears to be the Hungarian, and I haven't seen walking out of the water is never a good sign, is it? So let's hope everything okay. He's not got a technical issue. Well, Paul Torre just having a little bit of a look at the board. He took that pretty nasty slam as Jan Ganchelar makes his way out of the water. Beautiful scenes you can't really see, but right behind us, got a few mountains not far away from here. The foothills of the Hajar Mountains. Most of the east coast of the UAE is very mountainous. Not the highest of mountains, if you know your hills, but quite impressive. It's not just a flat desert out here. So the mountains going up to about 1,400 meters, actually. In fact, some of them come pretty quickly out of the sea. We're not too far from the country of Oman as well. Well, Roman Lichal-Knatarshvili in the water. It won't be too long till we see him. He is in the 9th group to go out, a Masters rider, but stepping into the stock class here, as many of the riders having to do. So a little bit of a lull in the action, as just getting things moving again. 7 riders have completed their 2 laps so far, but Paul Torre appearing to have a problem, and Abraham Tibor was in the water and then appeared to come back out of the water as well, so not entirely sure yet what the issue was. Well, Ström from Sweden, Alexander Ström there, just having a problem getting set up. He is in the group with Abraham Tibor. Let's see if he can get himself sorted at the second time of asking, just getting that right foot strapped in and hopefully get underway. So conditions are okay out there at the moment, not a huge amount of traffic as we've been saying, but it might just get a little bit choppier out there. The seawall doing a very good job, however the wind sort of coming in from the north-east, so there is a slight gap, and if you look at the water, it is sort of travelling in. So and might become a bit of a factor as the man from Sweden is up and running, Alexander Ström. Just looking for Abraham Tibor. I'm trying to pop my head outside the tent to see exactly what's happening, but can't at the moment. But you can see riders out there getting active and trying to get this qualifying session moving here. Now switching to the drone shots gives you a little bit of a better idea of the course. There's the finish line and the jury posted behind us, and then for that, folks, one or two technical issues today, but they'll all get fixed, they'll all get sorted. And this is Ström, the Swedish rider. Well, just getting confirmation, it was a DNF for Tibor from Hungary, so let's hope nothing too seriously wrong with the board. Hopefully get a time for Ström. Yeah, we do. 1:02.183. That puts him into 6th place at the moment. He's on his second lap now. And it's on these second laps that you see the riders, of course, really push it on. Try and find those little improvements. Everyone's had free practice earlier today. That free practice giving them an opportunity to learn the course and get a feel for the conditions. It was earlier in the day, of course. Section is pretty tight coming out of that split section, and then you work your way down over to this yellow buoy, and it's quite a tight turn. It's going to be interesting once we get into the racing over the weekend. That final turn, pretty tight into the finish line. So quickest time so far still, that's a time of 55.334 from Liu Xinjing, and now we do have a time for Abraham Tibor, 1:15.553 for the man from Hungary. That is the slowest so far. Second time for Alexander Ström. He goes quicker, 59.960 puts him into 5th place. Well, problems here. Yeah, so Abraham Tibor out of the water. So next group will be rider Sawangwan and Julien Reynaud. Sawangwan 6th in the junior boys standings in 2024. As we see a few of the juniors stepping it up and coming into the stock class. So there's that open water that you can see, that harbour wall just on the right hand side, doing a good job, but the wind is kind of coming through that gap at the moment. You can see with the waves what it's doing out there, and you've got to work across. Here you're going with the wind. China still with the top 4 quickest times. Of course, China do get guaranteed spots at the World Games. As they are the host nation. They get 3 guaranteed slots for Chinese athletes across the single events. It's all pretty complicated in terms of how you qualify for the World Games. These major events, 10 Olympic Games, World Games, all have pretty complex criteria to ensure that there's a spread of nations in the field, and of course that the top athletes are all represented as well. China also guaranteed a team in the Nations Cup as well. So my understanding, best 19 athletes in the women's from the qualification race, up to 2 per country, go through to the World Games from this weekend in the women's singles. Best 20 of the men, up to 2 per country. And of course, we've already got 1 female athlete, the first athlete to qualify for the World Games, Eliška Matešková, last season's world champion, qualified by winning the 2024 world title. So Julien Reynaud on his second lap, 106.694. The first lap puts him into 8th place at the moment, but right now the Chinese athletes are still holding strong at the top of the pile. A real tough battle for them to qualify, as it is for a few nations, certainly Czechia. It's going to be tough for them because there, of course, is so much talent in this sport in that country, and with just the 2 per nation going to the World Games, it does mean a lot of talented athletes are not going to get the opportunity to go to the World Games. A slightly slower second lap there for the Frenchman, a 108.177. Majority of the athletes going quicker on the second lap. Just Wu Yongcan from China going quicker on the first lap, and Julien Reynaud as well. I think that is Mike Michailidis. It is indeed. The man from Cyprus. He was 5th in the Stock R standings last season. Now let's see. Starts his first lap off, and the riders work their way out as we look at it to the far left of the course. And here there's a bit of space between each of those turning buoys, and you can really work the board. Then it tightens up as we start to work our way back through towards the split section, and then that tricky final turn. Now looking back across to the beach and the paddock area, where everything is all set up, and our hotel in shot as well. Everything nice and tightly packed together, so really smooth operation here in Fujairah, and wonderfully hosting us again. We're getting a time here for Michailidis in just a second through that final turn, and stops the clock on his first lap. Let's see what the Cypriot has done on lap 1. Haven't got it in yet. Yes, we do now. 59.127. That's good enough for 3rd place. 3.793 down, and now onto that second lap, seeing if he can improve at this time out. Bit of work to do to close in on the 2 Chinese leaders now. 55.334 is still the quickest time that we have. But Michailidis from Cyprus looking really smooth here, getting forward on the board where he needs to, where he can, cutting that tight line, getting cleanly out of the turn as well, just avoiding getting that board sort of stuffed into the water when he's on the toe edge, but doing a good job. So 59.127 his first time. Let's see if there's an improvement here for Michailidis. Attention, 59.694, so just a fraction slower, about half a second slower, but he still goes in to 3rd place. Oh, not what you want in qualifying. I think that is Anthony Mastroni there. Well, I'll just double check. I think it is Mastroni. I was having a chat with him earlier. New board for this season. Was super relaxed, as he always is. But still, second opportunity. Just got to put that one behind you. Mark Andrews, the other Canadian in the field here. So the man from Ontario, Canada, just getting set again, and hopefully all okay. Just strapping that board up, and he will get moving. Must be nice for him to be riding in the warm waters of this part of the world. It's probably frozen in Ontario at the moment. So Mistroni, DNF on the first lap. So it's all on this one for the Canadian to see if he can put together a decent qualifying. Obviously coming through the Masters category last season, but now in the stock class, as everybody is in the men's. Oh, you can hear my voice going again, can't you? We'll do our best. I do apologise, folks. We're going to ramp it up over the weekend, though, when the racing is underway. Just sort of gently talk you through qualifying. Sounds like a sort of Sunday morning radio session at the moment, where we'll do some smooth talking through qualifying. Get your requests in, pick your tunes. This is much better from Mistroni. Just really focusing on being clean, not getting too tight on the turns, staying upright, that is key. Had to get it all done on this second lap, but that's the way it goes sometimes. It's all about how you respond, and he's responded well there. Coming through on that second lap, not got the time in yet. Well, it's saying DNF on the second lap as well. And it's changed to a 1:02.446, so maybe just a little glitch in the timing system there, but 1:02.446, everything provisional that I tell you. I'm just going off the live scoring, the same as you guys, but you might be watching on the bus or the train, so wherever, and you can't have the live timing up as well as watching, so I'll just be giving you the times as I get them. But Mistroni into 8th place at the moment. We've had 12 times so far in this qualifying. We'll have the women's qualifying once the men are all completed. So Vladimir Maslenikov, next man underway. Oh, and problems there for Maslenikov. It's easily done in this game. So like Mistroni before him, Maslenikov will have to get it done on the second lap. That's why we give you 2 laps, folks. Doesn't take any pressure away, but it does mean you've got that second opportunity. Again, just getting back upright again. That's quite tricky to get upright. So Maslenikov will work his way through, or maybe just is he going to complete the course? So Maslenikov is working his way back through. And Sebastian Lux and Roman Lichal-Kratochvil will be the next riders that we will see. Daisuke Mamada getting up to speed for Japan. Japanese rider now into that first turn, cuts it tight nicely. It's on this backstretch where we've seen one or two of the problems. The chop getting a little bit bigger, as you can see, still well within the realms of what these riders can handle. And Mamada. So Mamada putting a clean run down so far. Looks like it is Maslenikov crossing the line on his second lap. He did have problems on the first, a 1:54. Well, actually, he's completed the course, so this is his second lap. 1:54. 6:22 the time, but that's a bit of a throwaway because we know he's quicker than that. But he did get himself out of trouble, back on the board, and then now this will be the lap that he is going to hope that scores a much better time for him. Daisuke Mamada from Japan goes third quickest with a 56.888, 1.544 off of the lead of Zhu Linjing from China. A little problem there for Mamada. Keeps it going though, avoids going down in the water. All about how you recover. You can make those little errors, but try and avoid a disaster. You see Mamada just having a look around, but we switch back to Maslenikov, and 1:54.662 goes in the bin. It's a 1:16.224 for Maslenikov, and Mamada crosses the line. 56.888 on the first lap, and the second lap time for Daisuke Mamada 57.535. You could see it just wasn't quite as clean on that second lap. A couple of small stumbles in there, but in the end, two decent lap times, and he sits in third place right now, which is pretty decent in the early stages of this qualifying. Sebastian Lux and Lito Lichal Kratochvil will be the next riders that we should be seeing. Yeah, well, there is Roman Lichal Kratochvil. Strapped in, another Masters rider, 11th in the Masters standings last season. You can hear the whistle as he ready to get in position, just lapping around a little bit in front of the paddock, but making his way to the start line. Sebastian Lux should be the man up first. Oh, and big problems early on in the lap. Oh, that is a big shame for Lux, but like we've seen a few times, get back up, get moving, and the man from Germany will have to use this as a little bit of a look lap and get a feel for the conditions, then throw it all down on the second lap. Sebastian Lux underway, and of course Roman Lichal Kratochvil, the Austrian, and here is Lux after problems on the first lap. Let's see if he can find that improvement. I think he's missed that buoy there. He might have gone the wrong side, so this has not gone to plan for the German. It's just my eye picking that one up, but one or two of the more experienced eyes may have seen that differently, but one to watch out for when the final results all come in. But it was his first lap that he was completing, so now he's on the second lap. Again, difficult when you've had that fall in the first lap, and got to just focus as Roman Lichal Kratochvil is underway here. He's on his first lap at the moment. Zhu Linjing still with the quickest time. Let's get the time for Roman here when it comes in. Goes into 11th, 1:05.076. So again, the question now, can he find that improvement? The good thing in this qualifying is that you don't have the traffic in front of you. You can really focus. I really struggled to say that word, didn't I? You can focus on the task at hand, as Lux is going to complete the second lap, and let's see the time for the German here. Takes a few seconds after they cross the line. Oh no, that is not how we wanted to finish there, was it? Or was it all planned? Just looking to see if there is a time for Sebastian Lux. 1:04 exactly, that's good enough for 10th place. So a thumbs up from Roman, and his first lap time is going to be the one that he carries forward. So next two riders making their way out on to the course. Kim Min-jun and Natapak Kanchanapon, man out of Thailand. They will be the next two that we will see in this qualification session. Kim Min-jun from Korea, another nation that's had a lot of success in this sport over the past few seasons. He is who we're riding with right now, number 247 on his first lap, and certainly attacking early on here. You can see just that little bit of chop coming through. Not too challenging yet, but we'll see how things progress throughout this session. The wind coming right through that gap in the harbour wall. You can see the harbour wall behind. It's an impressive one as well. Well, very smooth qualifying lap here for the Korean. 55.334, still the quickest time. He cut that one a bit tight, but all still going to plan. Just gives himself a little bit more room coming out of that section, and now you can see where that finish line is. Just got this tight turn. It's on the toe edge for this regular footed rider, and it's going to be competitive. A 56.877, 1.543 off of the pace. So Kim Min-jun sitting in third place at the moment. Now, can he improve on that 56.877? That is the question. There's a pretty clean lap, so now can he step up, find that little bit more power, take a little bit more risky. Running quite a late line here, but now there's a room to get on that throttle. Again, two very consistent laps so far. Again, very tight on that yellow buoy. But Kim Min-jun is approaching the end of his second lap, and it's been two decent laps for the Korean. Let's see, does he go better than the first round? 56.877 in lap 1. Don't know why I'm saying round. Apologies for that. And it's a 59.190. So first lap, the quickest for Kim Min-jun. Natapak Kanchanapon underway. Have we got a time for him? Yeah, 1:04.651 on the first lap, so he is on his second. Again, approaching the end now. Let's see, 1:04.651 on lap 1, and a 1:05.689. So not improving. It's 12th place for Kanchanapon from Thailand. Got Yantoan Vachasarak next up in the next group, along with Jin Shulin from China. It's going to be a really good tussle for those qualifying places for the Chinese riders. They're impressing at the moment, still holding the top 2 spots as Lin Chin and Zhang Maozhu, with Yan Zitao in 3rd place. Well, there's the scene back at the paddock. That's when the riders come in and out of the water. So Jin Shulin and Jan Torvacha-Sadak, the next riders that will be out to tackle the course, and just waiting on the whistle to get the lap started. So Jan Torvacha-Sadak, 6th in the Stock R class last season. Shu Lin from China in that tussle for the Chinese places, and the riders have been impressing, haven't they? Early stages, of course. Well, some very smooth riding so far. A pretty dynamic style, very aggressive stance, and it's working well here. Getting forward on that left foot. There's that turn. That is going to be tricky. It's going to be really interesting once we get into the racing over the weekend. That's all coming up for you. Looking forward to bringing you all the coverage, and we'll try and grab some riders. We got a new second quickest time for Jin Shulin, 56.128. Less than a second off of the pace of Lin Chin, who still has the advantage. He was in that first group to head out onto the circuit. Jin Shulin now trying to go quicker on the second lap. He's not far away, 0.749 away from the leading time. He probably won't know that, though. I think he's going to be pretty pleased that once he comes out of the water and can have a look at the lap times. But again, he's had 2 consistent times. Got a time for Jan Torvacha-Sadak. A 57.147 puts him into 6th place. Jin Shulin crosses the line to complete his second lap. Haven't got the time yet. It's a 54.785, a new quickest time in qualifying for Jin Shulin. It's China 1st, 2nd and 3rd right now. They are dominating qualifying, but we've got more of the big names still to come in this sport as we work our way through this men's qualifying, the all-important qualification session ahead of the weekend's racing and those spots at the World Games. So 57.147 on lap 1 for Vacha-Sadak. It's a 58.075 on lap 2, 6th place for the man that was 6th in the Stock R category last season on the MotoSurf World Championship. Well, we are here in Fujairah, the International Marine Club, which was established in 1999, and we're under the patronage of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Hamad Al Sharqi, the Fujairah Crown Prince, and we're very grateful to have his patronage as well. So a big thank you to His Royal Highness, and of course everyone else that has helped put this event on. Our hosts, the International Marine Club, established to publish and encourage the water sports among the locals and residents of the Emirate of Fujairah and the United Arab Emirates. Suguru Ikeda and Chen Zhangqi next to riders that will be tackling qualifying. That new quickest time set by Jin Shulin, 54.785. So that is the benchmark. They are starting to get quicker, aren't they? Thatcher Sadak doing a pretty good job, sitting in 6th place now. So next rider underway. 2 riders out on course. It is the man from Japan, Suguru Ikeda, that we are watching right now. Again, running a pretty wide line in places, but again, it's all about getting that first lap on the board. So you know you've got something to work with when the mistakes come on the first lap. It puts the pressure on for lap 2. And let's see what Ikeda has got here. Oh, that is a massive shame there. Oh, and it was all going to plan for the Japanese rider, but number 50 will come back again on lap number 2. I'll get an idea of roughly how quick he was going, because even with a fall, that time for Suguru 104.385. He was going to be under 60 seconds there, which puts him into that really competitive bracket. Chen Zhangqi here for China. Let's see how he is faring. Just that one turn left to negotiate. And Chen Zhangqi crosses the line. Let's see what the lap time is. Didn't see much of the run, but appeared to be okay. 101.241, that's 12th place. He's on his 2nd lap now. That's a good Ikeda, man to watch, because he had problems. He was looking good and still put a 104.385 down. Anything under a minute at the moment is pretty good. And now the man from Japan does complete his 2nd lap. Let's see. Well, he improves a little bit. 1 minute, 0.46, 60 seconds, 0.486. So the improvement there. But maybe not able to push as hard as he would like after that fall on the first lap. Chen Zhangqi crossing the line at 101.241 on the first lap. Now let's see. He goes quicker. 1 minute, 0.494. So the two in that pairing separated by just under 1/10 of a second in the end. 0.8 of a second separating the two of them. So good job done. 12th for Suguru. Chen Zhangqi sitting in 13th right now. Hannes Holdberg and Abdullah Al-Blushi, next 2 riders out on course. Holdberg out of Sweden, Al-Blushi, local rider from the United Arab Emirates. See them just circling around, waiting for the whistle. Should be Holdberg going first. And he is underway now. Cross that finish line and the lap starts. See what the Swedish rider can produce. Here is Hannes Holdberg. So Holdberg again looking to put down a really solid first qualifying lap here. Abdullah Al-Blushi, 8th in the stock car race last year. Always good to be racing on home soil. And Holdberg now coming towards the end of his first lap. Just getting stuffed in the water on a few, exiting a few of the turns, but overall keeps it upright. Well, with 1 turn to negotiate, let's see what the clock says for the Swede. Straight, of course, into the second lap. And Hultberg into 14th, 101.205. No time yet for Al Blushi, but let's keep riding it with Hultberg here and see if he can improve. He's got that solid first lap down now. Just tighten it up, try and get on that throttle a little earlier coming out the turns. All going okay for the Swede so far. This looks like Al Blushi coming through what is the split section. You can see the finish line just by that little pontoon. Abdullah Al Blushi from the United Arab Emirates does cross the line there, and pretty closely followed by Hultberg. So 129.130 for Abdullah Al Blushi, and Hultberg second time. Is it quicker than that 101.205? That is what we're all waiting to find out here. 101.397 on that second lap for Hultberg, so not going quicker. 6.420 off of the pace of the leader, Jin Shu Lin, who was impressive, wasn't he? 54.785 on that second lap for the Chinese rider. About a second and a half improvement between the laps. Al Blushi in 24th place right now on his second lap, and then it will be Maxim Gavronov and Tae-hee Han who will be the next riders. And then we can all move over to the second page of the start list, which tells us we are getting through this men's qualification session. And we'll roll pretty much straight into the women's qualifying. All pretty much running to schedule. Did tweak things a little bit. So 3:35 is when we think we'll get the women's qualifying underway. So Al Blushi going quicker on the second lap, 124.038 for Al Blushi. Maxim Gavronov and Tae-hee Han out on the water, ready to tackle these 2 laps that are coming up now. All important, get that good qualifying done. Impacts on the seedings, of course, tomorrow as we get into the heats when the racing hots up, and then try to pick up those points to get into the final. Life jacket looks like a parachute, doesn't it? So we're moving now with Maxim Gavronov. Quickest time, 54.785. That is the target for the men who are still to come, the likes of Matthias Novotny, Lucas Zahorsky, Dan Kim, Min Sung Kim, Anthony Squire, Timothy Zubor, Damian Kadlec. There's a lot of talent still to come in this session. Tae-hee Han. Oh no, that is not how you want to finish the lap for Tae-hee Han. Here is Gavronov. So no times yet for either of these riders. You can see Tae-hee Han still in the water. Just making sure he's out the way. Jet ski there, super quick to respond, as they always are. And Gavronov completes the lap. It's 22nd place, 111.798. So he rolls on to his second lap. I haven't quite seen what Tae-hee Han is doing. Was he just winding up for another go? Well, there he is, and getting up to speed to start, well, possibly completing his first lap. Oh, and he's in trouble again right after that finish line. So he did complete the first lap, or at least it'd be a DNF, but not going to plan for the Korean Tae-hee Han. Gavronov on his second lap, looking to improve on that 1:11.798. Certainly take all your suggestions for improving voice overnight. I've got the honey, the lemon, warm tea. Maybe I'll bring some warm beverages tomorrow, though. It's not quite the weather for a hot drink, is it? So 1:11.798 gets thrown away, and Gavronov improves on the second lap with a 1:08.908. So nice improvement there for Gavronov. A lot of these riders focusing on their own race and just getting those improvements is a nice step forward. So Tae-hee Han is upright again. Still no time on the board for Tae-hee Han. He's been out there for quite a while now, having some problems. Let's see if he can get through this time. So negotiates that first turn well.
Yeah, because she's auto.
Yeah, I know, but you should tell me so I come out.
I told you that, yeah. I told you
were
that
lying.
change button.
So DNF on the first lap. So I was just taking a quick water break there. Gonna need that. Had a very productive visit to a pharmacy last night. Giving me all sorts of stuff to power through today, and a good night's sleep, as is the case for all of the riders as well. Long days out on the water with free practice and the qualification session as well. And Tae-hee Han does get across the finish line, has his problem after the finish line, so he will get a lap time, 1:05.59. It's been eventful, but he goes into 14th place, and in the end, that second lap pretty useful for the Korean. But he won't win a race like that over the weekend. Stanislav Ganichkin and Feng Zhenghao next up. So that looks like the Chinese rider, Feng Zhenghao. Just trying to get a shot of Stanislav Ganichkin as well. Can't quite see where he is at the moment. So Ganichkin, first to go in this group, crosses the finish line where the lap time will start. Let's see what Ganichkin's got here through these opening turns. Definitely getting a little choppier out there. Just looking through the gap in my tent. It's not as hot as it could be in this part of the world. Perfectly in the shade, as of course we are facing east at the moment as Feng Zhenghao starts his first lap. So do get a beautiful sunrise. I was lucky enough to see it as well this morning. But the sun sets behind us over the mountains, and we're looking out into the Gulf of Oman, which runs into the Indian Ocean as well. Beautiful warm waters, rich in marine life as well, this part of the world. Lots of sea turtles if you travel about 30 kilometers up the coast. So time coming in here for Ganichkin. And for Ganichkin goes into 17th place, 1:03.955 for Ganichkin. So on to lap 2, looking for that improvement. Feng Zhenghao on his first lap still Just a little wide, a little late in the line while he's making some adjustments here. So here goes Feng Shanghao. Did think he was on his lap, but I see what you see, so into that first turn for the Chinese rider. Well, he did have a fall, so that explains why I thought he was doing a little better than he did. So DNF on the first lap for Feng Shanghao. And can he match his teammates who have been super strong? Chinese riders in first, second and third, 54.785 remains the quickest time for Jin Shulin. Really working it tight through that split section. Feng Shanghao now looking to make sure he sees this one cross the line. He does, and it's a good time as well, 56.955. Puts him in 6th place, so damage done on the first lap, but good improvement to go into 6th on lap number 2. So next 2 riders, another from China and one local rider from the United Arab Emirates. Gao Zijun and Ali Al-Blushi will be the next 2 riders to tackle the water, tackle this course in Fujairah. Of course, the qualifying race, the World Games qualifier. It'll be the 12th edition of the World Games between the 7th and 17th of August of this year. Chengdu 2025. 3rd edition to be held in Asia, the first in China. Majority of the venues as well used during the 2021 Summer World University Games. That's one of the key things about the World Games, is they don't build any new venues, try and utilize existing venues. MotoSurf, or you may see if you're doing a bit of reading on the World Games, power boating, but it's MotoSurf is the discipline, and then the men's singles, women's singles will be the event. Had a few arguments about that over the years, but I'll come up with a better way to explain that tomorrow. But power boating is the sport, MotoSurf is the discipline, and then the men's and women's singles are the events, along with the Nations Cup as well. First edition of the World Games was held in Santa Clara, USA, 1981. It's usually held every 4 years as well, although the last one in Birmingham, Alabama, the 11th edition, was held in 2022. They always sort of come 1 year after the Olympic Games, and with Tokyo 2020 being delayed but postponed by a year, the World Games in Birmingham, Alabama, which I was lucky enough to be involved in, as a rider there just going down in the water. That is a big shame, especially on these first qualifying laps. We've got Gao Zijun and Ali Al-Blushi, 2 riders qualifying at the moment. Around about 3,500 athletes, 100 nations take part in the World Games. So Gao Zijun with some problems. So let's see now. Second lap, all or nothing time. Did get a 1:22, 1:22.197. With that fall, Al-Blushi's completed his 2 laps. Abdullah Al-Blushi, 1:24.038 for the man from the United Arab Emirates. 28th place for him. Zijun, I should say. Now looking to put a much better lap time together after falling on the first lap. You can see the checkered flag to bring his second lap to a close. That looked a lot more competitive. Let's see the timing. Yeah, it's got it in for Cao Zijun just yet. Nothing yet. Well, there is Ted Burke, first of the US challengers, out on the water along with Juan Urquidy from Mexico. Urquidy just waiting on a Ted Burke. It should be Ted Burke to go. I do apologise if you're picking up any engine noise. Things are being cleaned behind our commentary position. So if you are picking that up, I do apologise, but Ted Burke looks like he is about to start his challenge. So Burke safely through the first turn. You can see the wind picking up, and now riders having to cross that. Just a little bit of chop that's still working its way in. The wind coming from the northeast, as I was saying. It's proving a little trickier throughout this qualifying session. Waves have got bigger as we've worked our way through, and Burke with a nice recovery. Burke just having to adjust his strap and focus on his final few turns as he's in the split section. Just getting a little late out of some of the turns. Keeping it all moving nicely here. Get bounced off a wave there. Just lost that grip on the board with the board on the water. One turn to negotiate for Burke. And Ted Burke crosses the line. So let's see what the timing brings us for Ted Burke. It's a good time. 1:03.253 goes into second place, but riding it with Urquidy. At the moment, again, getting airborne. Not a lot he could do about that. It is getting trickier out there, but what a recovery that was. Down in the water, bounced straight back up. That was impressive. Not quite the plan he had in mind, but he's kept it moving. His damage limitation for Urquidy. Just trying to hold on, and Urquidy gets his first lap time on the board. Bring you the time as soon as we get it on his second lap. Ted Burke. So Burke with that 1:03.253 in 18th place. Urquidy with a 1:07.158 goes into 25th place. Urquidy onto his second lap. Ted Burke improves a 1:02.133 on the second lap. 17th place, actually jumps ahead of Anthony Mastroni, who's now pushed down to 18th place. Again, that split section proving a little tricky for Urquidy. He's made some good recoveries, but not this time. So Urquidy's not going to improve on that 1:07.158 as he gets himself upright. Well, Urquidy does complete the second lap, but it won't be an improvement for the Mexican rider. 1:07.158 on lap one, will remain his quickest, 1:18.570 on the second lap. So next two riders will be Alexander Lanner from Sweden and Arkadiusz Janora from Poland. Lanner 12th in the stock class last season. Janora 6th in the Masters. Quickest time still at 54.785 from Jin Shulin from China. Lanner there in the blue. And Janora in the white and red from Poland. Lanner will be first to go. We'll see Rosalia up in the women's class later on. Qualifying taking place as soon as the men's is done. So Alexander Ström at the best of the Swedes in 11th place with a 59.960. Holtberg a little bit further back in 16th with a 101.205, but of course it's just qualifying. Things can change around once we get into the heats. They certainly will. So Lanner builds the speed up to start his first lap. Straight across into the waves that are coming in, and then it gets tricky here because you're fighting with them coming at you from the side, particularly exiting some of the turns. We're seeing some of the riders getting airborne. Some quality turns from Lanner, being aggressive here on the first lap, and again just sets that turn up nicely on that toe edge. Regular footed rider clattering into the buoy there. Hard to control. You can see that wave catching him, just losing that grip, and he's having to just work to keep it moving. And you've got to be so active here, but also precise and read the water. And Lanner crosses the line, so we'll get you that time for Alexander Lanner. Decent, goes into 9th place, a 59.192 for the Swede. Now can he improve? Can he find an extra couple of seconds? Michailidis not too far ahead in 8th. After that, bit of a gap, almost 2 seconds between Hachasanak, who's in 7th, and Michailidis in 8th. Janora underway on his first lap as well. Oh, and I think Lanner might just have missed the buoy there. He's not going to improve on that first lap. Well, it does keep it moving. Maybe that did go the correct side, but after those problems, Alexander Lanner won't improve on that 9th place. 59.192 his best, 103.251. Time on lap number 2, Arkadiusz Janora. So it's still on his first lap here. So Janora now on to lap number 2. Where will he be placing after that first lap? It's okay from Janora, 103.253, just behind his Masters compatriot Mistroni in 19th place. But not a lot between them, 0.3 of a second or so. So can Arkadiusz find his way into 19th? Apologies there, folks, if you hear me coughing. It's one of those days, isn't it? Out in the sunshine with a winter cold that I definitely didn't bring from home where it had been quite cold. Got it here. Come to the sunshine to try and recover. So Arkadiusz Janora on the second lap claims it. Is it better than 1:03.253? It is better than 1:03.253. 1:01.724 for Arkadiusz Janora. He jumps into 18th place. That was a really strong improvement on the second lap for the pole. I think he's pretty pleased as well. He'd have known that. He'd have felt that. So getting it ready to start their qualifying will be Fares Ramadan from Kuwait and Mark Andrews from Canada. But a thumbs down there. I think that was Mark Andrews. Could be wrong. It was a thumbs down from somebody. It might have been actually Lana. Yeah, it was Lana, because there's Mark Andrews with the maple leaf. Fares Ramadan in front of him. Second in the Stock R class last season in the World Championship. Be really interesting to see how he goes against the more experienced stock riders. Kuwait, a nation with good history in water sports as well. And Ramadan underway. So this is all about that first lap here for Ramadan. Take the pressure off, allow you to attack a little bit more, take some more risk on lap 2, but it is getting slightly more challenging out there. You can run that turn wide, you've got space before the next turn. These are the tight turns where the waves are starting to cause one or two problems. It's all about getting forwards where you can. Goofy-footed rider is Ramadan, right foot forward. This has been pretty clean. It could be competitive from the Kuwaiti rider. On to lap number 2 it is. Into 8th place, 58.860 for Fares Ramadan. Again, can he find that improvement? This is where the gap is. About 1.7 of a second between 7th and 8th. Now, Ramadan knows he's put a decent first lap together. Just a little adjustment of the goggles, and he's trying to eke out a little bit more on this second lap if he can. A big panic there as my live timing disappeared. But panic over, it's back. So Fares Ramadan on his second lap, which is done. 58, Mark Andrews still out there. And Ramadan actually goes quicker. Takes about half a second off his lap time, 58.348. Stays in 8th place, but always good when you knock a little bit of time off. Mark Andrews, who we didn't see on the first lap, 59.758. Had him in 12th place. And completes the second lap safely there. So is there a jump up the standings for Mark Andrews? There certainly is. A 57.010 goes into 7th place. Impressive second lap for Mark Andrews. 2.225 off of the pace. Another Q80 rider up next, and Hassan Bobas along with Damien Kadlec. These two riders very, very competitive in the stock class. Hassan Bobas 5th in the stock last season. Damien Kadlec 4th in stock. Two riders that would be expecting to be battling it out at the top end of the racing once we get into Sunday. So Bobas with that number 42 Q80 rider. Going to be smooth here, he certainly is, and again, he's got the power, hasn't he, to really drive that board, force that board, and use his size and strength. He didn't panic when he hit the wave, and it's all working pretty well for Hassan Bobas. This opening lap, you could just see Damien Kadlec not far behind. Just using that left hand to clatter that red buoy out of the way. And Bobas now can get back on the throttle one turn to negotiate for the Q80. And it's a decent lap, solid from Hassan Bobas, and goes under 60 seconds, 59.198 for Bobas. That's good enough for 12th place at the moment, but what about Damien Kadlec? I'll bring you his time as and when that comes in. There he is, not too much of the circuit left to complete for Kadlec. 4th in the stock class last season, and Kadlec into 9th, 57.572. Under half a second behind Sarak, who is 1 place ahead of him in the leaderboard in qualifying. So for Kadlec, an opportunity with a good second lap to move up another spot or two. It's all getting nice and tight at the top of the leaderboard. It's still Jin Shulin who has the fastest time, 54.785, as Bobas completes his second lap, and there is Kadlec as well, as the live timing has disappeared again. So once I've got that fixed, which I've done now, Bobas improves on the second lap, 58.582. He is in 11th place, so just ahead of Michailidis. Damien Kadlec, 57.572 on the first lap, but a 55.891 on lap number 2, and that moves him into 3rd place. So great improvement, just over a second behind the quickest time of Jin Shulin. Kadlec showing his quality on that second lap in qualifying. Next two riders are in the water. It is Anthony Squire and Timothy Zubor. You can see Zubor there, the number 57, the Slovakian rider. He was 7th in the stock standings last season. Well, we can spot Mr. Squire as well, wearing the stars and stripes. Well, there's the Slovakian Zubor. Should be Anthony Squire first to go. And there he is. So Anthony Squire gets himself up and running. 3rd place in the stock standings last season. So big expectations coming in to this weekend, but it's all about doing the job. It's all about qualifying. That is the name of the game. Great if you win the race, but you've just got to earn the spot. That is the most important thing here this weekend as we ride with Anthony Squire. Again, looks like he's just focusing on putting a solid lap down. Little adjustment of the strap. Man, that's really been improving of late. Just a little heavy coming out of that turn, but really quick recovery from Squire, getting that buoy out of the way. 54.785, the quickest time, but Squire looks like he is trying to put a lap down here. Let's see how close he is to the top. And Squire still nothing in on the leaderboard yet for Squire, but he blasts straight on to his second lap. Well, it's a 1:03.53 for Squire. Maybe had just a little error in there, but that's 18th place, not where he would want to be qualifying. Still riding with Squire, but Timothy Zubor, the Slovakian, who we haven't seen, has gone into 10th place. 57.258 for Zubor. Now is Squire going to improve on that first lap time of 1:03.53? One turn to negotiate, so avoids any major problems across the 2 laps. Did he improve, though? That is the question. Well, he does, but not by much. He stays in 19th place at 1:02.87. So a tiny improvement as we jump back to Timothy Zubor, who got himself into 10th place on that first lap, 57.258 for Zubor. Completes his second lap and doesn't improve, 58.454 for Zubor. And but I would say some positives to take from that qualifying session. Two consistent laps for the Slovakian, so Squire makes his way out of the water. This next pairing is going to be very, very interesting. Dan Kim and Min Sung Kim. It'll be Dan Kim first to go. Man that won the Masters title in 2024, second in the stock class as well. One of the busiest men on the water whenever there is a MotoSurf event happening. And of course, Kim Min Sung, the stock champion from last season. Dominant riding from both of the Koreans last season. Can they keep that form going in 2025? Definitely 2 threats for medals at the World Games, but they've got to get there first. Got to qualify, got to get through this weekend. So Kim down. One of the quickest riders on the circuit. Oh, and that is not how he wanted to start the qualifying. Out of the board as well. Well, he has got it all to do on this second lap. Face first into the water. Kim Min Sung watches on. He would have seen that because he hasn't started his first lap yet. The man that wears number 1, the stock champion. Oh, Kim down. Needs to put this lap behind him. It's a real throwaway lap now, all or nothing time to get a good qualifying spot. Kim Min Sung getting up to speed to start his lap, the stock champion from last season. A lot of eyes on this one. Conditions certainly not the easiest out there, not the hardest either, but the wind has been picking up throughout the afternoon here. Just gone approaching 3:40 local time here in Fujairah in the east of the United Arab Emirates. As Kim Min Sung is working his way through this first lap. How close can he go to that leading time of Jin Shulin, 54.785? So Kim down crosses the line, but Not the lap time that he was after. All eyes on Kim Min-sung as he comes towards the finish line. One turn to negotiate here for the Korean. We'll get a good idea of what to expect this weekend. And Kim Min-sung now starts his second lap as Kim down. Has to put one down here, doesn't he? It's second place for Kim Min-sung, 55.066. 0.281 behind the leading time. And Kim down on a charge. Not holding back in qualifying, but just wanting to show everyone what he can do. Kim Min-sung on his second lap as Kim down is going to complete his second lap. Definitely an improvement. He stayed upright. But how close to the top does he go? Goes into sixth place with a 56.680. Not bad considering what happened on the first lap, but has Kim Min-sung found a little bit extra on the second lap. He completes it. He seems reasonably happy with it. 55.066 was his time from lap number 1. Remember, 54.785. The leading time, and it's a 54.841. So tight. 0.56 between first and second. So he found that improvement, but not enough to take over in the lead. And Kim down after big problems on lap number 1. Getting into sixth place, so avoids any major issues in the end in qualification. Just a couple of groups to go. Marek Skamla and Lukas Zahorski in this next one, followed by Alex Lukscheider and Matthias Novotny. It'll be Marek Skamla first to go in this group. Can either any of the 4 riders who still to come challenge the leading time. So Marek Skamla gets his first lap underway. Maybe some of the toughest conditions out there right now for these men, the last few to go. And Skamla, very aggressive as Zahorski getting underway as well. So let's see as the times start to roll in. Slovakian rider Marek Skamla and Lukas Zahorski out on the water. Zahorski, multiple world champion, of course, won the Electric Challenge last season. So Marek Skamla goes into fourth place. Top 4 separated by just over 0.7 of a second. 55.490 on that first lap for Marek Skamla. Nothing in yet for Zahorski. So Zahorski crosses the line in qualifying as Skamla is on his second lap. And look at the angles he's generating through these turns. We got a new quickest time, folks. 54.496 for Lukas Zahorski. Doesn't matter what equipment he's got under his feet. He is fast, lightning fast, isn't he? Skamla completes his second lap. 55.490 on the first lap for Skamla. Doesn't improve. 56.158 on the second for Skamla. What about Zahorski? 54.496 on lap number 1. And 2 solid laps from Zahorski. He is in the number 1 spot with just 2 riders to come. 54.671. It is quick. He's had the 2 quickest times of this qualifying session, but it's not quicker than his first lap. So Zahorski in pole position right now, but 2 riders to come. And they're out in the water. Alex Lukscheider and Matthias Novotny. Lukscheider will be first up. Second in the elite standings last year, and Novotny, of course, the 2024 elite champion, the MotoSurf World Championship. So it all comes down to these 2 riders. You can see the order right now. That is the current standing. Zahorski in top spot. Jin Shulin from China in second, but just 0.289 between first and second. After this group, we're going to run pretty quickly into the women's category here at the MotoSurf World Games qualifier in Fujairah, United Arab Emirates. And Alex Lukscheider gets the lap nearly underway. It will be underway in a matter of seconds. So the 2 elite specialists on stock boards. Qualifying is one thing, but in the heats, will it be different? That's just a slight drop in power. But of course, these men are used to riding all sorts of boards, so all about the tactics, smart riding, get through the heats, pick those points up, get into the final. Such a battle between the Czech riders with so much talent in this sport. To get into those qualifying places, just 2 men, 2 women from each nation can go to the World Games in August. So Lukscheider coming to the end of his first lap here. 54.496 is the target time. That belongs to Lukas Zahorski. Lukscheider was quick. How quick? And it's a 55.325. He's within a second. 0.829, but it's 4th place for Lukscheider. Now what about Matthias Novotny? Winner of the elite class last season. Brings lap 1 to a close, and now both of the riders on to their final laps. So Lukscheider sitting in 4th right now, and it's 8th place, 56.064 for Novotny. 1.568, just over a second and a half off of the lead right now of Zahorski in this qualifying session. So lap 2 comes to a close for Lukscheider, 55.325 on lap number 1. As Novotny is out there, and Lukscheider not improving, actually matches his time from lap number 1, stays in 4th, another 55.3. He doesn't match his time, sorry, I can't read. 55.352 this time, slightly slower. And what about Novotny? 56.064 to bring the men's qualification to a close, which he does. Does he improve on that 8th place? No, he doesn't. He does improve in time, but not in terms of position. 56.053. So the smallest of improvements for Novotny, but he doesn't change his position. So the qualification comes to an end for the men. The women's qualification will be up next. And it's Lukas Zahorski who takes top spot in qualifying with a time of 54.496. 0.289 ahead of Jin Shulin from China at a 54.785. Kim Min-song from Korea, 54.841 in 3rd. And then Lukscheider, who we've just seen crossing the line in 4th place. So that is your top 4. You can see the order there on screen right now. there might just be a couple of riders that we didn't see. Paul Torrey had some problems. That looks like him there. Ali Al-Blushi didn't get a time, and didn't see Rider Sawangwan either out there. So we may just have a few more riders to go. So not quite done yet with the men's qualification. To my eye, at least. Now this looks like Paul Torrey. He was supposed to be in the 4th group, but I think he had a mechanical issue. Did see him come out in the water, come out into the water, and then had to head back in. Yeah, it is Paul Torrey, so Japanese rider on his first lap. Of course, 54.496, the top time, and Paul Torrey. Voice giving way again, folks. I may have to go back into radio mode, which isn't great long term, but give it everything I've got over the weekend. Just trying to protect a little bit here ahead of the weekend, and certainly Sunday when we get into the finals. So might be building up, and Paul Torrey avoiding any major drama on this first lap for him in qualifying. Just one turn to negotiate, and then he can start his second lap. So Paul Torrey, 1:14.735, goes into 42nd place. So Rider Sawangwan out on course now, 6th in the junior boys last season. Rider Sawangwan goes into 33rd, 1:03.194, but he won't improve on the second lap. He's lost his goggles there. So Paul Torrey with a 1:14.735 on the first lap, and looks like he's still possibly having an issue there, but maybe not completing that second lap. Rider Sawangwan is going to complete his second lap. First one was pretty competitive, the 1:03.194, but with that fall, he will not be improving on that lap time from lap number 1. And just looking out of the tent, can't see any more riders out there, so this, I think, should bring the men's qualifying to a close. So no change in the standings in the end, as Rider Sawangwan took a pretty heavy fall there, but he appears to be all okay. So Zahorsky, top qualifier, 54.496. Jin Shulin in second, 54.785, and Kim Min Song, 54.841. 0.345 separating the top 3 after men's qualifying. We'll take a very quick 1-minute break or so, and then we'll be back with the women's qualifying in just a few moments. Well, I hope you enjoyed the short break there. Enough time to think about putting a coffee on. There's the scene in the paddock right now as we're just waiting for the women's qualification to start. 13 groups, 26 riders in the women's qualifications. Zubarova will be the first to go in the women's qualifying. Don't see them out on the water just yet. Running a few minutes behind schedule here, but that's fine. We're not going anywhere. See the wind picking up in this part of the world. As I was saying, it usually does that here on the east coast of the United Arab Emirates in the Gulf of Oman. Chance during that little break to see some of the sights and sounds of this beautiful part of the world. Wonderfully hosting us here for the World Games qualifying race. Big thank you, of course, to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Hamad Al Sharqi, the Fujairah Crown Prince, under whose patronage we're privileged to be here, and at the Fujairah International Marine Club as well. That was another word I wasn't able to say. I'm going to practice some words overnight. Flags of all the nations that are here are displayed around the harbour wall and the corniche, the beach area. There's a little bit of sand floating around the commentary position as well, coming off of the flip-flop. So what we'll do, we'll take a little look back at some of the rather more dramatic moments of the men's qualifying. So there's the scene here at the paddock in Fujairah, just a stone's throw from the Fujairah International Marine Club, our hosts for this weekend of the World Games qualifier. Same deal for the women's qualifying, 2 laps. We'll have 2 riders on course at the same time, 13 groups, so 26 riders. Of course, Eliška Marušková already qualified for the World Games after winning the title last season. See how the Chinese riders get on here after having a really impressive men's qualifying. It's really nice temperature here today, just sort of mid-20s, it's saying high 20s, but certainly feels it when you're in the sun. But this time of year, what are we, late February, 21st of Feb. Always bad when you have to check the date, isn't it? Great part of the world to be in at this time of year. If you want some sunshine, not too hot, it's when a lot of activity goes on over the winter months, if you like, because once we get into the summer, it does get rather toasty in this part of the world, but February, March, April, and of course earlier months, you could name them yourselves, will be very, very popular. Because once we get into the summer, July, August, it is super, super hot here. So nobody out on the water at the moment. I can see one of the jet skis in position at the moment, but no action yet. We'll just take another little break and you can finish making that coffee you started 5 minutes ago. Well, still no activity. You can see the Japanese flag there, and Miki Tori will be the third athlete to go. She's in the same group as Lorraine Thielen from Belgium. And one Canadian woman in this women's qualifying, Rihanna DeVoe, in the 12th group. And Jihan will be the last rider to go. Group 13. 26 riders in women's qualification, and none of them are in the water yet from what I can see. I might just pop my head out in a second, but it shouldn't be too long until we get things started here. Well, not a lot of activity in the paddock area. That is effectively the staging area where the riders are getting ready. So it sounds like we're just about to get some riders into the water. We are indeed. So Sara Zubarova and Yu Sujin will be the first riders into the water to get this women's qualifying underway. Almost the same as qualifying procedure as the men. However, one rider, of course, already qualified from the World Championships as well. So, in theory, the best 19 athletes from the qualification race will go through, but there's a little bit of allocation. The UIM can allocate slots as well if spots aren't taken up, for example, or just one per nation. Various scenarios, so the UIM can, at the end of the day, hand spots to nations. It does happen in the Olympic Games as well to an extent, so no difference there. One of the main differences, though, between the Olympic Games and the World Games, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we get through the weekend, is that for the World Games, it is the international federations, in this case the UIM, who allocate the slots, as we are underway with Sara Zubarova, second in the junior girls last season. When it comes to Olympic Games, it's national Olympic committees who allocate the slots for the Olympic Games. So the Slovakian underway, and Sujin Yu from Korea crossing the line to get her run started as well. As we did during the men's, we'll bring you the times as and when we get them. And Zubarova, so competitive in the junior girls now on stock board, of course, in this highly competitive category. Doesn't matter your age, it is all about the performance. So Zubarova completes one lap and moves, of course, straight on to lap 2. No major issues there. There are major issues with my voice, though, and it's a quick time, 1:1.152. That could be very competitive as well. And for the first athlete to go, very useful time indeed for the Slovakian. Such a huge battle for that effectively one remaining Czech spot. If I've read everything correctly, I know there's a lot of conversation going on about the qualification procedure as Sujin Yu from Korea brings her first lap to a close. It's a 1:06.643 for Sujin Yu. Zubarova now safely onto her second lap and see if she can dip under that 1 minute barrier. So 1:1.52 on lap number 1. Did Zubarova improve on that second lap? She did. She got under 1:59.929 for the Slovakian on that second lap, and that is, I got a feeling, going to be pretty competitive as Sujin Yu is bringing her second lap to a close, coming out of the split section. She can sense the finish line. Now just that one more tricky turn to negotiate, and it is going to be, let's just call it, a lot of fun tomorrow. I can see one or two riders making some last gasp dashes for the line, especially with World Games spots up for grabs. And a good improvement from the Korean on the second lap, 1:04.914. So it moves it in the right direction. Can't ask for any more than that on the second lap. Next two riders making their way out into the water. Miki Tori there with the number 32 from Japan, and Laureen Thielen from Belgium. It'll be Miki Tori who gets this group underway. Just once the first two riders are clear of the water and the course, which they are making their way back now. So Miki Tori, I think, has had the whistle. Is she ready to start her first qualifying lap? She is indeed. So lap 1 underway for the Japanese rider. Raced in Macau at the back end of last season, November 2024. Finished 9th there. Let's see how this first lap goes, and Laureen Thielen will be getting underway any moment now. And Miki Tori just trying to keep it as clean as she can, and then I think setting up to attack in the second lap. 59.929, the quickest time from lap number 1, as now Thielen from Belgium is underway on her first lap, and Miki Tori has kept it all upright. Avoiding any major drama on this first lap. Let's see how competitive it is from the Japanese rider. It's a useful 1:02.885, puts her in second place right now. Thielen will be next to cross the line, so of course Tori trying to squeeze out a little bit of extra pace on this second lap. Now she's got that first lap out of the way. Got a real good sense of how the conditions are at this time of day. Just got 4 p.m. at local time here. Sun behind us, but pretty good visibility. All of the water still in sunshine from what I can see right now. Lap 1 coming to an end for Thielen. And the Belgian, well, she won't get her time, but we will. And it's 1:09.535, so Fourth place for Thielen right now. Zubarova still with the quickest time of a 59.929. Tori on her second lap, which comes to a close. And it's slightly quicker, 102.236 for Tori. So just over 2 seconds behind the fastest time of the Slovakian Sara Zubarova. We have Emma Strukalova from Slovakia in the next group. She will be the next athlete to go. As Thielen is bringing her second lap to a close. 109.535 on lap number 1 for the Belgian. And improves nicely. Takes over 2 seconds off of the lap time. 107.370 on the second lap for Thielen from Belgium. So again, moves it in the right direction. Could all be so useful once we get into the heats. So next two riders out on course. Emma Strukalova from Slovakia, 5th in the standings last season, and Aneta Strukalova from Czechia, 2nd last year in the women's category in the World Championship. So a lot of quality in group number 3. Will they challenge that 59.929 of Zubarova? So just blowing away any last-minute cobwebs, any nerves, getting fired up, getting in the zone. Time to ensure you are focused, ready to perform. 2 laps is what it's all about here. That's what we've been waiting for all day. Get these laps done and reflect on it. Think about it overnight. Move on to the heats tomorrow as Strukalova will be first to go in group number 3. 13 groups here. Has the green flag. It's good riding so far from the Slovakian, her teammate at the top of the pile right now. You'd expect to see both of those riders at the World Games come August. And Strukalova starting her first lap as well, 2nd in the standings. Had some really good battles with Eliška Marušková last season. So Slovakian just building towards the end of her first lap here. Her teammate leads with that 59.929. Oh, just a little heavy one there coming out of that turn. Hasn't impacted her too much. Is she gone the right way? I think she has. Just lost it from the camera shot there, but Strukalova onto her second lap. And Aneta Strukalova is approaching the finish line, just a moment or two. Haven't seen her. There she is. So no time yet for the Slovakian. I do wonder if she went the wrong way, if she missed the finish line there. I could be totally wrong on that. But nothing in yet for Strukalova. Let's see if Strukalova gets something on the board. So no updates on the leaderboard at the moment, although both riders are on the second lap. Might just have to do a refresh of the live timing for you just to see if that wakes it up, but it could be an issue. Here is Strukalova. Oh, and just before the finish line, she is down, and that is bad news for the Slovakian. Here comes the Czech rider, Strukalova, on her final lap in qualifying. Haven't got a time in for lap number 1 yet, though. So she does complete the second lap. Both laps completed for the athletes in group number 3. I do apologize, I'm not able to bring you any timings yet. I will do a refresh, and good news, I've got that has in fact worked. So Strukalova 59.185, that is the quickest time, and Strukalova 101.062 from the first lap. So that changes things up, and Aneta Strukalova, who was second in the standings last year, takes over in top spot, 7.44. I do apologise, folks, if you're picking up a lot of noise in the background. There's engine cleaning going on, board cleaning, so lots going on behind us. Some of you probably enjoy the noise. I actually don't mind it, but it might be overbearing. So next group getting ready is Rebecca Smith. There she is, getting on the board. She will be first to go, and Shen Qing from China will be the second athlete to go in this group. So Smith out of Panama City Beach, Florida, only did her first race just less than a year ago. Now here she is at the World Games qualifier. Two US riders in the field here in Fujairah. Anna Burke will be going in group number 12. So quite a wait until we see Burke. Rebecca Smith, been riding MotoSurf for a few years now, but only getting into the competitive side of things just less than a year ago, and it is a different beast, isn't it? You've got to get out there, learn how to compete and learn how to challenge, and she's doing that on her first lap, making sure of it here, and just taking quite a wide line. Shen Qing is going to start her first lap. The Chinese men performed admirably in the men's qualification. Things certainly going to plan for them. So 125.465 for Rebecca Smith. Actually, that time has just disappeared, so she may have missed one of the turns, but she is on to her second lap at the moment. Apologies again, folks. I had to take a little cough break, and whilst I can't pass it on to you through the microphone, it's not what you want to be hearing. It's not what I want to be hearing either, so I'm fingers crossed tomorrow going to be feeling a little bit better. Sunshine should help. Definitely feeling better than yesterday, that's for sure. There was not a chance I could have commentated yesterday, but I didn't tell the boss that. Confidence that with a certain beverage, I call it sleep in a can, I would be able to get through today. There's DNF for Shen Qing from China on the first lap as well. So these two riders, Rebecca Smith and Shen Qing, just looking to make sure of it on the second lap. Get a time on the board. Strukalova leads. She's done her work for the day. Oh, and Rebecca Smith just before the line. Can she just make sure she does complete the course? Get something on the board. She does that. Not how she wanted to finish the race, and problems for Shen Qing as well. Well, 124.747 for Rebecca Smith. 747. My favourite group of numbers because I like the aeroplane. And Shen Qing does get back up, and she is going to complete, all being well, her second lap after some problems. So for both riders, maybe not super happy with how it's gone in qualifying. Next group are getting ready to come out on the water as Shen Qing can see the finish line, just this exit from the split section to negotiate, and then one turn, and Shen Qing does complete the second lap and brings Group 4 to an end as Nixin Yu and Mariana Navarova are out on the water, or almost. There they are. 1:37.919 for Shen Qing on that second lap. So Nixin Yu will be first to go in group number 5 here. Chinese rider. First of the Chinese women in this qualification. 7 Chinese riders. Of course, they do have a guaranteed spot as the host nation for the World Games. So someone is going to get that. Probably the top rider, you would think. But if my reading of the criteria is correct, China has 3 guaranteed places in the singles. So I think they could go 2 men, 1 woman, or 2 women, 1 man. I may be wrong on that, but in previous life I used to deal with criteria, Olympic Games and things. So fingers crossed I've read that correctly, but someone will no doubt come up with a correction. But my understanding is that China has the 3 places, that they can use them how they wish. So as I was saying, as Nixin Yu is underway, it's whilst the majority of the spots are all going to be confirmed after this weekend, there will still be a little bit of maybe some jiggling around as we come through the criteria, because there's qualification period ends at the end of March, and then the entries have to go in end of April. You can replace athletes up to the 1st of May. So it's quite a process to qualify for major events, and that is why we're here in Fujairah this weekend, as Nixin Yu is underway here on her first lap at the moment, not far away from it bringing it to a close. There is the finish line from the drone, and does bring lap 1 to an end for her. Mariana Navarova is out on the circuit as well. 4th in the standings last season. Very competitive athlete, but of course you've got to be at your absolute best if you check and want to go to the World Games, because the talent is there. So Nixin Yu into 7th with a 1:07.999, and Navarova into 4th, 1:01.320 for her. So on to the second lap, looking for those improvements if she can find them. All about taking a little bit of risk just on the heels there, but recovered quickly. Just in the goggles, and the body can take a bit of a battering when it's bumpy, when it's choppy out there. And Navarova on the second lap. Coming through the exit of the split that is going to be so key once we get in to the heats over the weekend and the long lap as well. I'm not allowed to call it Joker, so I'm going to call it long. We'll call it long lap. We'll see that over the weekend. Not seeing it here in qualifying, of course. And Mariana Navarova improving on the second lap, going under 1 minute, so 59.994. That puts her in third place right now. Less than a second off of Stlucalova's leading time of 59.185. Haven't got a second time in for Nixin Yu yet. She did have that 107.999. Had her in 8th place after the first lap. Don't think she's improved on that. And the next group getting ready, group number 6. And it features Eliška Mariškova. Absolutely dominated last season, the world champion. Already has her spot at the World Games. Just 2 per nation, though. So let's see what the best there is can do on the first lap. She's first to go in this group. Linda Lukscheider is there. She'll be the second rider to go. Mariškova wearing that number 88. 59.185 is the time that's in her sights. And of course, some of the riders at this stage will kind of know what times have already been set. Wasn't easy for Stlukalova. She was in that third group to go. Sada Zubarova's first athlete to go, still holding on to, first rider to go, holding on to second place. Mariškova, world champion, so strong last season. 59.185 the target time to go into the lead. And there's just a tricky heel edge turn for her. She's a goofy-footed rider. And gets on the power, so crosses the line. And where is she going to place? It is top spot by over a second. 58.083 for Mariškova. Now, can she make the job of everybody else who's still to come that little bit tougher by improving on that time? Can she get under 58 seconds? She's not far away. Stlukalova pushed down to second. Linda Lukscheider on her first lap here. Another Czech rider, of course, and Lukscheider knows she's in a battle to try and qualify for the World Games, and that's why we've got this race, isn't it? Mariškova riding strongly, very smooth on this second lap. Nothing in yet for Lukscheider. I'll bring it to you when we get it. Mariškova, job done for her across the 2 laps. No problem in qualifying, but we'll wait and see how well it holds up. Lukscheider still out on the water. I haven't got anything in for her as of yet, so we'll do a refresh just in case something has appeared. I know why. We've lost the connection, so we'll have to just bear with me for a second. It is back. Lukscheider 103.782. I can bring you the time for Mariškova as well on that second lap of 57.389. So she extends her lead to 1.796. So big lead there at the top of the leaderboard in qualifying as Lukscheider with a 103.782 on lap 1. Finishes her qualifying with a 103.193 on the second lap. So that's good enough for 7th place right now. Next riders getting ready. Lee Zimeng and Lee Minyoung from Korea. Still that time of Zubarova holding on to 3rd place. She was in the junior girls last season, showing she steps up this season. She's going to be a threat, isn't she? So another of the junior girls will be going a little bit later, Rosalia Yanora. We saw Arcadius racing in the men's earlier. So Li Zimeng from China will be first to go. And she starts First lap late in the afternoon, just gone 4:30 local time here in Fujairah. Lovely part of the world. Not as many visitors as the likes of Dubai and Abu Dhabi get over on the other coast, but it's only about an hour 15 to drive to Dubai from here. Really interesting road as well, with the mountains that sort of separate these two parts of the country. Much of the activity happens on the coast, though. So Li Zimeng looking to bring this first lap to a close and trying to avoid anything over any issues over the final few turns coming out of this split section. You can see it is tough. Those waves causing one or two small issues for the riders, and there is a little bit of residual chop as well, but it does tend to dissipate. That's why we do qualifying in this style. So Li Zimeng from China is on to her second lap, and Minyon Lee from Korea waiting to complete, or on course to complete her first lap. 108.178 for the Chinese rider, who's now on to lap number 2. We saw Mi-Yong Lee in Macau at the back end of last season as well, so no stranger to this level of competition. And she goes into 8th place, so 104.245 for the Korean. She is the top Korean athlete as things stand right now. Su Jin-yu sitting in 2nd place, but still we have got Injun Lee to come as well. She's in the next group, so 3 strong Korean riders battling for those spots at the World Games. So Li Jimeng completes her second lap. She was in 12th with a 108.178 on lap number 1. And we'll bring you the time for lap number 2 as soon as it comes in. As soon as I'm able to get it. Connection is dropping a little bit here, folks, so do bear with me. 105.717, and the Korean, who was... well, will stay for now in 8th place, doesn't improve. 104.245. So it does manage to complete the second lap, but obviously not improving on that first lap time. Alright, so next couple of riders getting ready here. It's Hyunjin Lee and Jin Yu. Lee from Korea and Jin Yu from China. And Jin Lee will be the first rider to go. So still leading the way, 57.389. The rider from Czechia, Eliška Mareškova. Can't see that time being beaten now. But for the remaining riders, it is all about putting down as strong a run as they can. Something competitive here in qualifying. And Jin Lee starting her qualification lap. Going to go for a backup live timing here, folks. Bear with me. Well, she's got a bit of a problem here, and into the water. So there is Jin Yu. Couldn't quite see. Well, we saw Jin Lee having a look at the board, and that is not a good sign. Let's hope. Okay, she picked up a bit of plastic. She has. I wonder if that just got stuck somewhere. Could have caused a problem. So good to see the Korean back on the board and hopefully able to start the lap again. So green flag, and Engine Lee does get her first lap underway after a small mishap, but thankfully before she started the lap. You can see having to be super active here. A really good stance from the regular footed rider. Getting low through the turns and reading the water well. You've got to do that at this time of day. Jin Yu, she's underway now. This is the 8th group of 13 in this women's qualifying, with Eliška Matičková in the lead. Natasha Lukalova in second place. Sara Zubarova coming out of the junior girls category last season, still holding on to 3rd place, best of the Slovakian riders in this qualifying. Well, we did see Engine Lee put her hand in the air. She might have missed one of the boys, a buoy. Again, we'll have a vote. What would you like me to call it? Yeah, that is confirmed. So no time on the first lap at DNF for the Korean. But I think she didn't realise. She did realise, I should say. So puts a bit of pressure on herself with just one lap to count here. Jin Yu trying to bring her first lap to a close. Oh, and she's got some issues there. So into the water on the first lap, and Engine Lee trying to make sure that she doesn't have any issues on the second lap. Got to watch those buoys carefully. Got to make sure that she can see this one out. There we can see the stricken Chinese rider. And Engine Lee does cross the line. Appeared to be a clear run for the Korean, and it's a useful one as well. 1 minute, 0.826 puts her up into 5th place. So very, very helpful run from the Korean. Puts her in as the top Korean athlete. More issues for Jin Yu. Let's hope she can get moving again. Still hasn't, as far as I'm aware, actually completed her first lap. I've certainly not got a time in yet. And that is the case, because she is moving straight on to lap number 2. Well, 2 minutes 09 just to give you the time for her. But of course, she had a lot of problems on that first lap. So again, let's hope. I'm sure we all want to see all of these athletes, all of these riders perform to their best. We want them to be happy with their own performance. Some of them know they can't compete with the out-and-out top riders, but they're learning their craft of racing, learning to put any mistakes in qualifying behind them. It can take time to really learn your craft at this level, especially with what's at stake in those places at the World Games in August. Tricky for the riders when it comes down to one race. You've got to perform over the weekend, unless you're Eliška Matičková, who's got the spot already. And the Korean Jin Yu does complete her second lap. She will improve, of course, on that 2 minutes 09 and up to a 1:07.397. So really good second lap for the Chinese athlete. Group 9 making their way out there into the water. It's quite a nice temperature, around about 22 degrees. Rosalia Yanora from Poland, 5th in the junior girls last season. And Chai-Jin in Group 9. So Yanora, first to go in this group. One of her competitors in the junior girls category from last season, still holding on to 3rd place. That is Sara Zubarova. So here goes Rosalia Yanora from Poland. Start her first lap. Arkadius went in the men's qualifying with 31st place in the end. He's of course a regular in the Masters category. Did Yanora take that gate with her head? In which case, if she did, I respect her game. Might have been her shoulder though. Chai-Jin from China underway as well. And then Group 10 features 2 Chinese riders. Last to go actually in this women's qualifying will be another Chinese rider, An Jihan. Best of the Chinese so far in this women's qualifying, Li Zimeng in 11th with a 105.717. And Yanora putting together a solid lap here. Polish rider through the final turn, stops the clock. It'll be a second or two till the timing system updates, but she's done her job on the first lap there. It's all about moving on to lap number 2. And 105.049 for Yanora. That is good enough for 11th place. Chai-Jin coming through to complete her first lap and does that pretty nicely. Little wobble over the line, but going straight into the waves at that point. That makes that first turn tricky. She goes into 7th place, a 101.429. That is competitive and best of the Chinese riders so far. Of course, it is just qualifying, though. It is all about what happens over the weekend. All about those race smarts, those tactics. Qualifying times, yes, impact your starting position, but what matters is how well you race and who has problems, who doesn't. And Yanora crossing the line on lap number 2. She improves nicely, 104.826 for Yanora, puts her in 11th place. Chai-Jin with that really deep, really strong 101.429. Had her in 7th. Let's see if she can move from 7th place. And she stays in 7th. Doesn't actually improve in terms of time. 101.790 for the Chinese rider. But she is the top Chinese athlete so far. That's one little marker for her. But we'll see how her 2 country women do as they enter the water. Hang Xijuan and Gao Ziyin. 10th group into the water. It's all Chinese pairing. After this group, 3 more groups to go. Hang Xijuan will be the first rider here in this group. Chai-Jin with that 101.429 is the best of the Chinese athletes so far. It is Eliška Mariškova who has the advantage in qualifying, 57.389 that she set on her second lap as Huang Xijuan gets her first lap underway in this qualifying session. And got to handle the conditions well. This late afternoon light wind that's coming through. It is a little bit windier, of course, out on the water. We're pretty sheltered here. That's because we're in a tent. But you can see some flags blowing around. And again, the wind hasn't changed direction, so it is still coming through a gap in the harbour wall. Of course, you need a gap, otherwise you wouldn't get any boats in or out. So important that we have it. And the Chinese rider just running a little wide there, just focusing on the momentum. Huang Zhizhuan crosses the line and still a bit eager. Need to remember that it doesn't update right away. Still no time yet for Huang Zhizhuan. Gao Xiaoyin. So Gao Xiaoyin onto her second lap. 1:13.716 for Huang Zhizhuan. Just behind her teammate. So she's in 17th at the moment. Nothing yet for Gao Xiaoyin. Gao Xiaoyin just crossing the line there and onto her second lap. Still waiting, and it's a very good time for Gao Xiaoyin. 59.943. That puts her into 4th place. Very strong run from Gao Xiaoyin. Sets herself up as someone to really keep an eye on once we get into the heats over the weekend. Lots of action coming for you on Saturday and Sunday. I'll give you the timings at the end. They hopefully haven't changed yet, but if they do, you know, to keep an eye on their social media for any updates in the timings. We'll be bringing you the live action over the weekend, and very much looking forward to it, and hopefully looking forward to having a voice as well. So I'm sure you are as well, rather than my slightly nasally croaky tones you're getting today. But really strong qualifying from Gao Xiaoyin, and she's improved up to 2nd place. 58.874. What a run that was in run number 2. So just bring you the second lap time for Huang Zhizhuan, who was in that group as well, a 107.013, 15th place. 6 riders to go. Another story there. Gao Xiaoyin on that second lap, 58.874, 1.485 off of the leading time, as it is the all-Mexican pairing of Arantxa and Alaya Flores next up. So the 2 riders from Mexico underway now. Arantxa Flores, she's the first to go in this group. Group 11 of 13. Just keeping it very clean through these turns, and a little bit of calmer water has appeared. I think the wind has died down ever so slightly, is helping it with conditions out there. So that is good news for the remaining athletes out on the circuit, and who are still to come. 2 more groups, of course, in this qualification ahead of the weekend's racing. And we'll be coming at you pretty early tomorrow, the local time. Tomorrow for the first of the heats. I'll just confirm that for you now. As it stands right now, we'll be getting underway at 9 a.m. local time here in the United Arab Emirates. So you might have to set your alarms, or you might have to stay up late. Depends where you are watching. So Arantxa Flores has completed her first lap. And it's a 1:04.777. 12th place right now. Alaia Flores with a 1:05.082. So can they eke out maybe just a few tenths more on this second and final lap and jump up the standings? It's all pretty tight in there, from Luke Scheider in 10th down to Li Jimeng in 16th. Arantxa Flores 1:04.777 on the first lap, and a 1:04.771. Slightly quicker, stays in 12th place, but again improves. And Alaia Flores bringing her second lap to a close. Just one turn to negotiate, which she handles. And let's see, 1:05.082. 15th after the first lap, and 1:05.356 on lap number 2. So no improvement, but two pretty consistent times right across the board from the Flores riders. That's the sort of riding that, you know, if you could be consistent in the heats, don't make too many mistakes, let others make the mistakes, then you can find yourself in a pretty decent position after the heats. Staying in North America, we've got Canada and Mexico. Rihanna DeVoe, she will be first to go there. She is number 287, and Anna Burke in the Stars and Stripes. It'll be DeVoe from Canada, who is the first rider to take to the lap. She raced here last season and in Macau. All of the riders that raced here just have that little bit of familiarity with the scene and hotels and what the water's like, where you go for the paddock. All of those things are pretty useful. So let's see what DeVoe can do as she winds up for the first lap. The lone Canadian woman in the field. So DeVoe underway, and whilst it was conditions a little better for Arantxa and Alaia Flores, I think the wind has just picked up again, ever so slightly. It's not a particularly strong wind, but just seeing one or two slightly bigger waves. But DeVoe is handling things okay here on her first lap. A long turn on the heel edge and then into this next section. Just staying pretty tall on the board, giving herself lots of room, lots of time. Really focusing on the line that she's riding. Trying to take a pretty, what I would call quite a high line, early line. Gives you the room. Get more of that turn done before that turning buoy. If you're having to really work too much after it, you can lose some of that overall speed, that momentum that you've generated. And Rihanna DeVoe through the final turn. She is going to get a time on that lap number 1. Right on cue, we have lost the live the timing, but don't worry, here's Anna Burke. Broke the record for being the youngest female in the world to backflip a jet ski. That's impressive. Time for Rihanna DeVoe, 1:16.802, and Anna Burke onto her second lap. So here is DeVoe trying to find some improvement, some gains on lap number 2. Time for Anna Burke, 1:13.767. So the quicker of the two in this pairing is Anna Burke, but we're riding with DeVoe right now, just a little trapped on the heels, but able to keep it going, keeping that momentum up. Getting airborne as well. Great balance on display from DeVoe. Can she get a quicker time? Just got to get on that throttle, and completes 2 laps. Stays upright across the 2 laps as well, and improves nicely. Stays in, moves up to 21st, but it's 1:11.958, and she won't drop from 21st. At the moment is Anna Burke, who was ahead of her, goes down. So Burke stays in 22nd place. See it again, Burke on the charge and just on the heel edge, those hips dropping back towards the water. Couldn't recover that one. She will complete the lap. But of course, not improving on that one. 13.767. Well, didn't actually completed the lap, but missed the buoy in there. So DNF recorded for the American. So one group to go. There is Jennifer Beckman, the German, representing the MotoSurf Club Germany. And An Jihan from China. This will bring qualifying to a close here. Appreciate you tuning in, putting up with my voice today. Promise you. Well, actually, I can't make a promise that it will be better tomorrow, but I've got a good feeling. Definitely moving in the right direction, believe it or not. I know it doesn't sound that way, but let's all hope for a good night's sleep, and we're going to enjoy the action together over the weekend with the racing. So we're on to the last group, and Beckman from Germany is winding up to start the first of her 2 laps, as An Jihan is in the water as well. So green flag, and there it is. What a great spot to be marshalling from. Just do you mind sitting out on that pontoon? Got a cooler in there, obviously just with water, nothing else. Yeah, not a bad job to have, is it? Just would you mind just sitting there for 3 days? So Beckman underway here, and again, it's all about focusing on the line, focusing on staying upright on the board. Others have had problems as An Jihan starts her first lap. Best of the Chinese riders, Gao Jiayin, sitting in second place with a 58.874. That came on her second lap as well. No problems yet. Well, hopefully none at all for Beckman. Don't want to see anyone have any issues, as she can sense the finish line. Can start to focus on her second lap. It's been pretty clean first lap for Beckman, as she does complete it. Moves on to lap number 2, and Jihan is just coming into the split section, and Beckman a 1:16.927. 23rd place for Beckman. So An Jihan, where is she going to place after her first lap? Just runs it a little close to that left-hand marker for the finish line. So Beckman with a 1:16.927, and Jihan with a 1:15.554. Final laps in qualifying. Can both of these riders finish strongly? Just almost got them both in shot at the same time. There is Beckman, and there is the finish line out of that split section to the right of the red buoy. round to the rider's left of the yellow, the final turn. And Beckman, 2 laps done. Her qualifying comes to an end. 1:16.927 in the on the first lap for Jennifer Beckman, as Anne Sheehan is on her final lap, and Beckman with a nice improvement. 1:12.638 moves up to 22nd. And Sheehan at a 1:15.554 on lap number 1. And she rounds the final turn. Does she improve on the second lap? It was 2 decent laps from both of those riders to finish off this qualifying. She does improve as well. 1:12.608 and moves into 22nd place. Jumps ahead of Beckman in the final standings. She is still going, but the quali's done now. Actually, yeah, she's not on course. So, women's qualification comes to an end. It is Eliška Marešková who takes qualifying with a 57.389. Coming on her second lap, Gao Zhayin. Really impressive, 58.874. Let's go into second place for China. Aneta Stlukalova in third with a 59.185. Sara Zubarova from Slovakia first out onto the water, 59.929, and fifth place Mariana Navarova, 59.994. There's your top 5 in this qualifying as we look over the city of Fujairah here on the east coast of the United Arab Emirates. So thank you so much for your company here for qualifying. Thank you for putting up with my voice. It's not at its best today, but fingers crossed it will be better tomorrow, where we will return at the moment. My timing tells me 9 a.m. local time. We get racing in the heat. So wherever you're watching around the world, you can work it out from there. But from the MotoSurf World Games qualifier in Fujairah, United Arab Emirates, we will see you tomorrow for the heats.